One of the challenges that I struggle with personally is figuring out what is the right combination of how much I should work versus not work. And I think it gets out of whack in terms of how I think about things. And I really struggle with it. So, if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Maslach. I'm an Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back. There's so many people that help me out, and I want to pay the favor forward to help you out. I'm going on a walk right now, and it's in the morning. It's a little chilly, so my lips are not moving as quick as I would like. So it sounds a little strange. But one of the things that I struggle with inside my brain, people don't see this. They always think that, oh, you're so calm, or oh, you're so relaxed. But what they don't see is I'm really struggling a lot inside with feeling a lot of guilt and anxiety um, about not working all the time. Um, I do like to work. Um, I like getting into the state of flow, as they sort of call it, where you solve problems and things like that. I don't necessarily like leading up to it, but getting into it, I kind of like that feeling. However, um, the challenge that I face is that I have always been. I learned I got to go back to like high school where I learned I wasn't a popular kid at all. Um, and I didn't actually had like no friends for a good couple years, and it was a real struggle. And so I kind of learned over time that um, I sort of had this mindset that if I worked really hard, that everybody would like me and all that kind of stuff. So I started going to the gym. I mean, this is how a lot of psychological things happen, right? So when I was like 13, 14 years old, I mean, it's a standard story. So I started going to the gym and working out, and then I started applying myself in school um, really hard. And I thought that the more that you worked, the better off that you would be. And this is standard economic thinking. Um, it's, that's a lot of what they teach in economics, but and I've been studying other areas for a long time as well. I know a little better, um, but you assume that if you work a little bit or working hard at something, you're gonna make, you're gonna do much better, and you're gonna do have a much better life and those kind of things. And I was assuming that everybody was gonna be all impressed and all that kind of stuff, all that garbage, but it never happens. But my mindset has been trained, or how I think, it's not mindset, just your schema of how you view the world has always been like that. And then when I got into university, I got into a really good school, engineering program, and I started working. Um, and in the first semester, it was a great time, and my grades were great. So then I had really picked up the amount of work because it's towards the tail end of high school. That's how I actually got into this good engineering program. I just worked all the time, studied all the time. People don't really understand that, but my parents probably realized that, but nobody else kind of realizes that from the outside world. And then the same thing um, in university. All I would do is just study nonstop. Um, I was always in the library, always studying, like always. Um, you know, it was Monday through Sunday, I'd be sitting in that library, um, you know, putting in many, many hours. And yeah, it definitely worked. I definitely got better grades, and I picked everything up. And then, I got into graduate school. But eventually, you know, I got my PhD, and eventually I got to the point, especially this started really happening in my PhD because my wife wasn't working at the same, she wasn't studying like that, like I was, and life was starting to happen around us. As you get older, you can only put a pause on life to work that hard for so long. And I think this is true for everybody, and then life starts happening around you. Whether it's your our parents, or both of our dads died. And that was a real. So they died. My dad and her dad died within a week of each other, um, from similar cancers. They both worked in a pulp and paper mill, and different ages, but it's just one of those freak things. And it was a real eye opener, because we are. I was 25 years old. She was 25 at the same time, or same age, and this tragedy happened, um, just as my PhD was starting, and I had to really calibrate life, because that was kind of the beginning of our marriage, and we had to figure out. I had to figure out how much I was going to work, because I thought, going into it, I was going to study all the time and work all the time. But, she needed me, and I needed her, frankly, to deal with some of the loss that we were dealing with. And we needed time off. And that was the beginning of me coming to sort of reconciliation of how much I could work. So, I'd dedicate time to family, and now I dedicate, at least a day, to the family, um, on the weekends and stuff, where we go and do things, and that's super important for us. And it's just there's a lot of stuff that happens, especially when there's four of us and a dog and all this kind of stuff. There's just lots of stuff that happens that you need to do. So it's not like we're going to Disney World every weekend. We're just living life and doing laundry and all that kind of stuff. But all that stuff takes a while, and it's a real. I feel a lot of guilt when I am doing that, because I feel like I should be working all of the time, and I don't think that's healthy. And I've been, the long story short is I've been struggling with that and balancing it, and I've been learning, know, learning to let go. Um, not good, and I don't think I'll ever be good with that. I don't think everybody needs that sort of pressure in their mind, but learning to let go is important. But that the lesson that I want to sort of let go, or let here, is, if you feel like that, you're totally normal. I think that anybody that sort of has these, you need to be working all the time, that's like, welcome to welcome to the reality of what life is about. But you need to have this balance, um, and it's not a balance every week, but it's a balance where you need to let go, And I think that's actually where a lot of benefit comes from. It's not necessarily the fact that you're doing that, but it's the fact that you're letting go, um, and learning to enjoy life, because it is a learned skill. Yeah, especially if you've worked really morning, especially if you worked really hard at something. So just know that as you're doing this, um, just keep going and learn how to let go. I think that's the important thing. Learn how to enjoy life. And, I think that's how you balance a lot of stuff. And you kind of learn to live in a certain moment that you're in. And, you do your work and you smile when you do your work. And then you learn to let go with that. And then you learn to live in the moment and enjoy, family life and all that kind of stuff too. I think that's super important to have those balances. That's all I wanted to say. Anyways, have a good day, and we'll see you on the next podcast.